Hey guys, Barry here from TGS with another Will It Happen video. Today we're going to discuss Tom Clancy's The Division 3. Has it been announced? No. Is there a release date? No. Is there any guarantee it'll happen? No. But we'll answer that right off the bat, and we're actually going to dig into a lot more during this session. On top of just discussing general, Division 2 facts about possibilities for the new game, possible locations if worldwide, possible locations in the US, the release dates and how we might see the next game. The fact that there's currently little to no rumors at all, and there's also quite a wish list from what I've seen online, digging around some forums and so forth. So we're going to kind of discuss absolutely everything in this session. We're going to start with the Division 2 facts, jump to what may be facts for Division 3, jump into the locations, discuss those, discuss the release dates and when the possibility of the new game will be, and then we'll run down the wish list and that'll be it. In the meantime, I'm actually going to be traveling in this video. I figured instead of just running around pointlessly, let's try to accomplish something. So we're going to run from the Roosevelt Stronghold Island, and we're going to aim for the Lincoln Memorial, so I'm going to just mark the street right there. My goal is to run this gap, and then we're going to go back in the menu, and we're going to literally try to run to the Capitol building. It's been one of my goals in this game to just kind of tour this and go through it, so why not combine two in one? Knock out two birds with one stone, and just discuss this while we move along. I played Division 1 in full on the channel. Feel free to check it out. All of the original achievements completed and everything. I did not get to into the DLC of that game, but I did the rest. So just I recommend it. I had fun playing it. I have a video touring New York in the game, going up Broadway and all that kind of stuff. So be sure to check those out. Plenty of missions. Some of our top videos on the channel are Division 1. As per Division 2, I've played the main game. I've played the end game. I'm World Tier 5. I'm somewhere in the 400 range. Don't really have a set goal. Just personally, just to show you guys my status, I have about 12 achievements left that I'm going to be mopping up and trying to post videos for over the next few weeks as I move towards finishing out this game. The one I have the most concern for is the raid, but we don't need to worry about that right this second, as we're not dealing with that here. But let's go ahead and get started right now. It's the 2:30 mark, so we can get an idea of how long this will take, if it'll let me climb up. So we'll just say that we started this journey at the 2:30 mark. Let's see how long it takes for us to run there. I'm going to try to minimally engage people and stuff like that, as we're going to stick to fact reading. So we're going to start with Division 2 facts. First off, end game and addition of the raid allows Division fans to continue beyond the main story, which is something people were asking for. They wanted something to do after they completed their main playthrough, and Division 2 came through with it for them, giving us the end game. Basically, all they did was let us replay the same missions, the same strongholds with a new enemy, so the missions are slightly different, the objectives are different, but you went through the same damn places. So it has its perks and its negatives. Perks is additional content, which I didn't mind playing through, especially with a good squad. You could have a great time. But in a sense of the fact that it's just so repetitive, you're doing all the same missions again. You have that element to it. But in the end, I don't think it was too bad as to say, don't do it again. But I would advise them to consider, maybe coming up with a new location that they bring up during the new missions. You can sure revisit some places, but maybe skip a place and find somewhere that you never showed us before and tuck it away so we can do it. I don't know why I alluded that case right there, but I had to. I also want to say, I noticed this game received a lot of backlash from many Division 1 players. So people might be, oh, Division 2 was overhyped, it didn't do well, this or that. It actually did effing phenomenal. So just to point that out, even though it had backlash, the game is very good. I highly recommend it myself. I've enjoyed this maybe even more than Division 1. I haven't really made a decision yet. The map is pretty cool. It gives you slightly different feel or vibe than being in downtown New York the entire time. I'm sure you get the idea. It's a lot more spread out here, especially the parks and so forth. The buildings are different heights, they're different laid out, different structures. They used a lot of museums and stuff, so all that was pretty cool. And, I'm hoping they kind of don't go back to what New York was or this game. They need to find something else at that point. Referring back to sales, this isn't, I don't know if there's 100% fact or not, but some of the gaming sites and magazines and so forth were saying that it was the second best-selling game of 2019 as of May 2019. Like I said, I don't know if that's 100% confirmed, but if that's the case, that means it's doing phenomenally well. So in the end, this game is selling very, very well. I suspect it's going to be it's going to continue to grow, especially as they fix bugs and so forth. There's plenty of people who play the game way after the release date, so we can expect that to go down. Next, we're going to jump into the fact that in March, on its release month, it sold the most units and, the most revenue. It generated the most revenue of any game. Which again, I don't know if that's 100% guaranteed. This is just information you pull from websites, you pull from magazines. You can't guarantee even the magazine's correct, even if it's the New Yorker. Everyone's subject to possible flaw, so I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't know if that's 100% guaranteed, but it sold the most revenue from what I've understood. And that doesn't mean units, doesn't mean it sold the most copies. It sold the most to generate revenue, which, the game could cost $100 and they've generated the most revenue with those $100 sales. Whereas another game might have more units sold, they might have 100 units, but they might have made less revenue because the game's cheaper. You get the idea, I hope. So revenue is literally just income minus expenses. It's the money you get clear after counting for your expenses and how much money you brought in, kind of like how a business works. We're going to go ahead and jump straight to the Capitol building now. It's going to be a nice long hike. I'm going to kind of follow the navigation point. As per Division 2 facts, that's pretty much all I have for you guys, Like I said, I didn't mind the end game. The raid I have yet to try yet, so I'll give my feedback on that in the future. But I've heard that it's a major pain in the A, and it kind of reminds people of the grind of Destiny 2 raids, and it's a lot of hassle. So we'll see what happens when the time comes. And again, the sales were phenomenal, so just skip over anyone who puts this game down. If you're thinking about getting it, I recommend doing so. You can always watch some content on it. If you played Division 1 and enjoyed it, you'll enjoy Division 2. Now, it's a fact that people expected more change than was to come. In my view, Division 1 was Division 1, period. Exactly how it was played and how everything worked is what they expected Division to be. So when Division 2 came about, what was it going to be? The same thing, just upgraded graphics, new locations, some new changes. That honestly is what I see happening here. And I think they met the expectations of making another Division game per se, but they didn't meet the expectations of going above and beyond and changing things that were requested. But a majority of people are happy with it considering how the sales are doing. So I wouldn't worry about it, to be honest. But they can always, check their feedback. There might be ways to improve the game and make everyone happy. But I'm not going to provide that info here. As per facts on Division 3, which we're here to discuss, while we obviously play Division 2, the new location is most likely going to have a connection to the story. You guys probably figured that already. But, these are all connected in ways, whether it's in the past, it's in the future of this event. They're obviously going to have to play into the story and connect it in some way to Division 1 or Division 2 story. Whether, they say that it was going simultaneous as this, whether it's a few years before. There's ways they can go about it, and I'm sure they will. It can't be that difficult to figure that one out. Also, the next game is most likely going to be on the next generation of console. Sorry to disappoint you guys. If you wanted it this fall, it's not going to happen. You can expect it sometime around like 2022. I'll go over that in a little bit once we go over the release date analysis I did. What I think is going to happen. So it's going to be next gen, whether that's PlayStation 4 and Xbox 2. I don't know what the hell they're going to name the next Xbox. They kind of threw us off by going Xbox 360. Xbox One, is this going to be Xbox 2 next? Is it going to be something else? Who the heck knows? I guess time will tell, guys. That was the sound of my phone dropping as I was trying to look at the list to see what was next. Kind of going around this. I just didn't want to go in there. I'm pretty sure it's like a big maze in there, and we're going to have to fight a lot of enemies. We're better off just running around the dang thing. Next main fact is, for those who don't know, SHD stands for Strategic Homeland Division. It is a US-based force, federally funded force, I guess you would call it. And that leads to the possibility that this game may be restricted, and legit restricted to the United States. That doesn't mean, Division agents wouldn't have gone abroad. I think they should consider going abroad with their game because they could do an amazing job bringing in Europe or something to this game. Saying Division agents had to react to help other, allies across the sea, the ocean, whatnot. But it does make people feel that it's going to stay in the U.S. Whether that goes to Miami, Boston, Chicago, L.A., blah, blah, blah. That's not the cities I'm going to go over exactly to a T, but those are just ideas I'm just tossing out there based on major U.S. cities. We'll go over the actual stuff in a moment. But, yeah, there's a chance it will stay in the U.S. Will I not play it do that? Definitely not. I'll still play the next game, most likely, as long as they do it right. But, we'll have to see what happens with that. Next, we're going to go over locations, guys. This is one of the major ones. I think I'm going to go over if it's located in the U.S. first. So I've done a lot of, searching. Some of these, pretty much all of the recommendations I'm giving you have been backed up by at least somebody else online in a forum or general discussion. I didn't just pick cities to pick them. I made sure that these were cities that people would be interested in seeing. I saw requests for Chicago, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, Miami, and Seattle. So really quick, Chicago, I feel it could be an amazing city to put a game in. They did Watch Dogs in Chicago. It's one of my personal favorite cities I've ever been to. I live on the East Coast and ventured there once for a road trip and stayed for, I think it was like 4 nights or something, and absolutely became one of my favorite cities to ever visit, hands down. We almost considered, do we want to move there or something, but just didn't seem optimal. You never know. Definitely one of my favorite cities in the country, though. It's like it's kind of like New York mixed with a little bit less population, so it's not as overwhelming. It's not as extremely large and congested on an island. But at the same time, it will feel like New York. So that's one of the downfalls that I think people will experience. They might be disappointed by that. Las Vegas, on the other hand, would be pretty awesome. You'd have the whole strip. The only problem with that is it's repetitive on the sense of casino, casino, casino. Once you go beyond the casinos, there's really nothing overly hype there. It can turn into bad neighborhoods, into this or that. Just like any other major city. I feel like they've been kind of leaving that stuff out of these games for the most part. Like, you have DC downtown, but I feel like they need to vary it. So if they do Vegas, they can't just include the strip. They're gonna have to go beyond the strip and include, maybe the rough neighborhood that's nearby or this or that. Have a new faction hiding out there. There's a lot of options for that. Los Angeles, LA. Honestly, I don't know. I just don't know. It's nothing like New York in the sense of overall building construction of just tons and tons of skyscrapers. It's much more flat and laid out and spread out. But LA at the same time, I don't think is reasonable to use for a running game. If they are to add something like vehicles, which we'll go over in a little bit, one of the wish list items, then it may work because you can drive around and so forth. But yeah, Miami, it'll be cool. You have the beach, you have all that element to it. Again, it's another major city. You're just going to feel like you're back in the New York realm, but with a Floridian feel to it. That Miami feel, which is kind of like a feel like you're not so much in the U.S. anymore in some of the parts there, just by how they're designed, they're laid out, which was definitely one of the things that makes it a unique city. But at the same time, you're still going to have that large building design, so it kind of has some differences, but at the same time, it's the same. Seattle, I think, would be an awesome city. Again, it's another major city, but Seattle is Seattle. I'm pretty sure everything could be in running distance. You could use access to the piers, you can use the waterfront. You can maybe even use a ferry to get to an island. There's a lot of options with that game. There's all the bridges. It's a really cool city. I've been there as well. Much smaller than anything else, so that'll just be dependent on what they're thinking in the end. As per locations worldwide, number 1, Dubai. Dubai is like one of the wealthiest cities in the world, in the United Arab Emirates, and basically, I don't know if they would even allow Division to even consider doing a game there without getting into trouble with them. But being such a prestigious and amazing city with such amazing architecture, I just feel like it would have a really cool vibe. They could have sandstorms. They could really do it up really, really nice. Everything would be high-end. If they stick to like the downtown district, they have all that, the Burj Khalifa. You could have like the character have to get to the top and the storm and it's swaying. Real story, it does sway in the storms and high wind and stuff. From what I've seen on videos, it's pretty crazy. Number 2 is London. But who hasn't heard London brought up in a location for a game? Everyone wants GTA to be in London. Everyone wants Watch Dogs 3 to be in London. So, it's not a bad choice. It's definitely not going to have the same vibe as being in the US. It's also an ally, so I have reason to be there to send our division troops if they needed the help. At the same time, I just feel like there's a chance for being overdone if too many games pick up on London. If somehow GTA and Watch Dogs go to London, we don't need another London at that point. But it is an awesome city. Next would be Moscow. People have been asking for Moscow for quite some time. It would definitely be an entirely different cultural experience. You know, they speak Russian natively. It'd just be a whole different ball game. And I'm just not sure if that's something they'll want to do or not. But they have the pretty cool building design and so forth, so it could be a possibility. Paris is another one. They have the Eiffel Tower, they got the city. Paris and London are kind of in the sense that they're both European cities. Obviously they have their differences, but they have that kind of style where the buildings are a certain height, and then, you know, they have their own little skyscraper downtowns that are much smaller than the overall city itself. They have the rivers. They have kind of the same theme, so I'd be fine with either one. I don't really have a preference because you have plenty of options if you go to London, Big Ben, Parliament, like all these crazy buildings. But if you go to Paris, the same deal. You get the Eiffel Tower, which would be a cool mission. You know, Notre Dame, which unfortunately had that fire, but they think they're going to be able to, you know, fix it. It obviously won't be the original masterwork up there, but it'll look as similar as they can do. And I've heard that it's a rumor. I don't know if it's true. They're using Assassin's Creed to get a view of it because they detailed Notre Dame phenomenally in the game. I remember visiting it in the game personally. Stream that game on live stream, so be sure to check it out. Just gonna drop that. Finally is Rome. Now I came up with Rome kind of myself. You know, it's been recommended for games before. It was one of the ones that I was kind of like, this is the borderline choice for this discussion. But it's an old city. It has a ton and ton of, you know, things. You could have the Vatican. You could have all these different places that could be, you know, monuments and points for conflict in the sense of the game, because they kind of like to pick major landmarks and so forth to do this kind of stuff. I was trying to avoid the fight up here, but I guess we'll have to go. But we're at the Capitol building, just to point that out, right around 17:30. So it took us about 15 minutes to make it here, just to point that out. I just toured the Capitol a year ago. Did a Capitol tour. It was really cool. But that is that location-wise. I don't want to push the video too much longer, but we still have a bit to talk about. The rumor has it, that there's no rumors for this game, so we're not even going to get into that too much. You know, they haven't even discussed that it might even be a possibility, so rumors are all, it'll be in Chicago, it'll be in Los Angeles. Anyone can start rumors like that. That's why I'm not getting into it too much, because those are rumors. These are people, you know, there's people going around being like, oh, it'll be in this game, it'll be in this game. I just thought, what if that was like a little raptor or something? That'd be crazy, but I don't know why that popped in my head, but, you know, maybe integrate dinosaurs in the Division. That'd be ridiculous, like a DLC. I heard Battlefield might do that, so they could be a good starter point for seeing if it works. I don't know why I thought of that, just the environment and the way the animal was looking from where I was approaching. I was like, what? Next, we're going to discuss the release dates real quick. Division 1 came out on March 8th, 2016. Division 2 came out on March 15th, 2019, 3 years later, plus 7 days. So, I'll go ahead and tell you why I chose March 22nd, 2022 as our Division 3 release date. Literally just because the fact is that if you're following that 3 year and 1 week postponement like they did the last time, that's exactly the date you'll get, and that sounds like a pretty good ballpark for when the next Division will release. Which means it'll be next gen, which means it's 3 years away, so prepare to just hunker down, wait for a few DLCs to release and so forth. And it's just a guess. I estimated it based on obviously the difference in the first two, and I figured it was a pretty good estimate. It's going to be March 2022 if they want to be in the same ballpark area for a game. As per finishing it, let's finish up this discussion. This is one of my longest discussion videos to date. I didn't expect to talk about for 20 minutes here. I do want to say, check out my Mafia 4 video. I discussed Mafia 4, I think, in 10 to 20 minutes as well. It's had over 100 views. That's why I'm doing a Division 3 discussion. And that's why you're going to start seeing discussions every week on the channel. I think we're going to do Unboxing Day And we're also going to do discussion day for new games. You guys can recommend them to me as well. You know, you want me to discuss Rage 3, you want me to discuss GTA 6. Post in the comments and let me know what games you'd like to see me do videos like this again for. Because we'll play the game related to it. If it's GTA 6, we'll play GTA 5 and talk about it. If it's Rage 3, we'll do Rage 2 and talk about it. And all that good stuff. But real quick, let's go over the wish list, as that's going to mop up the video. And even though it's 10 items, we can get through it pretty quickly. So number one wishlist consideration: add dog companion to attack and hunt. Basically, you add, instead of having your drones and stuff, or even on top of having your drones, you should have the possibility to have a dog companion. Dogs are, in Division 1 and Division 2 around the map. Why can't we have our own pet dog who, maybe you want to hunt down an SHD cache and your dog can sniff it out and, he leads you to the destination. Maybe you need him to attack because you're getting overwhelmed. And you send him out to, attack a person. And, do it the same way they do the drones. If the dog gets taken out, should respawn either in a certain amount of time. You whistle and he comes back. I think that'd be a really cool concept. At first I was a little iffy when I heard the dog wish list consideration. I was like, it actually wouldn't be too shabby. I feel like it could definitely work in this game if they do it right. If they do it wrong, though, it could be wrong. Something to be worried about. Number 2, add single player mode for solo gamers. There's plenty of people who want to run Division 2 solo. I personally ran Division 1 solo for the main missions, side missions, collectibles. Then I eventually did start running with people later on in my playthrough and was like, I should have just done this the whole time. But I was constantly having trouble finding people the first time I ran through Division 1, so I did solo. Division 1 solo, pain in the ass, but completely possible. Division 2 solo, slightly more difficult in my view. Especially when you're getting overwhelmed by a ton of enemies. I'm just kind of running around circles here. But I think they should consider a single player mode where it weights the game against your character. If, keep the bosses, but instead of sending out 15 enemies to attack us, because we should have a squad of 4, send out 7 or something. They can figure that out themselves. Just consider the fact that we'd be weighted against. Weight it properly. Keep it like it is now, where it's 4 people and it's, reasonably difficult, but definitely completely possible to beat. And just scale it against us in that sense. Scale level, sure, I understand that. I say keep it. But should also scale it to number of people. We shouldn't have to fight 80 people with 1 person when we have to fight 80 with 4. That's just, I agree with that. So I'm going to stand by that one. Number 3, add stealth element to kill enemies without detection. I'm 100% behind this. Why? Because, you might want to be able to crouch and sneak up, and you're going to have to combat them anyway and get in a gunfight, most likely anyway, but why not have an element where, there's 5 enemies posted up, and if you're able to sneak up behind one, be able to take him out, just insta-kill him, stab him in the neck, whatever you want to do. Slit his throat, all those different Navy SEAL techniques and stuff that you've seen in other games. Kind of just come up with something like that so we can get stealth kills, so we can try to infiltrate the outside of the building without being spotted and taking the enemies out silently. This game's like a shoot 'em up, but we could totally use stealth. I mean, it would make a great sense in this environment to add stealth into it. And so forth. These are my teammates, right? Alright, just had to make sure. Like we just discussed during the major cities, avoid major cities that are too similar to New York is another wish list. Don't bring back another city that's going to feel like another New York. I also say don't bring back a city that's going to feel like a DC. We need something new. That's why I hope they consider either leaving the U.S. or picking a city that's different. Seattle. I didn't mention Houston, but some people want to see Houston. Just didn't gain a spot on my 5 list. That doesn't mean I don't want to see it there, but it just means that I didn't think that was going to be one of their top choices. Number 5, improve matchmaking to main menu. Pick the host or join before you start. I definitely like that idea. I do not like how they have it now where you got to go to the location, matchmake. It works. It does the job. But what if I'm out on a side mission and I want people to join me for that side mission? I should be able to matchmake. And, it should just automatically detect what I'm doing and be like, I'll find people to run the side mission with you, find people to do these bounties with you. They need to do it a little bit more in that context, a little bit more personally to you. When I go to look for a group, I want to be able to choose if I host or if I have to join people. I hate when I'm trying to host a game and I get 500 invites, but nobody joins my session for 30 minutes. Those are the worst situations, and I'm kind of hoping they avoid that next time. Number 6, they should definitely keep the level and tier system. I don't disagree with that. I like the leveling system. Level 30 is kind of what Division 2 has come to, and then once beyond that, you get the tiering system. I think they should keep that going. I didn't mind it here. I do wish they kind of made it slightly easier to level up your tier. I don't want to grind to level up. I just want to play the game level up. You know, whether you do it through missions, this or that. Next, number 7. People are hoping for a less buggy game, especially achievements and commendations. You know, for instance, I'll show you guys right here on screen. Hard as nails, I'm pretty sure glitched for me. One, I completed all of the hard missions on live stream. It's all there as proof in my live streams. I've recorded them all individually because I considered putting a video together of all the missions in the game, and then decided it might not be the best idea because it'll be a long as heck video. Who's going to watch it? But, you know, I go to commendations. They reset me here. So, for instance, Air and Space, American History, these should all be 50% because the complete mission should be checked off. But they were kind enough to have the commendations mess up for me one day. And ever since that day, I've been unable to keep track. But I've completed everything. I've done the Capital, Roosevelt Island on hard, even on Endgame as well. And, unfortunately, this is the case. I just haven't been able to get the achieve. I've also heard other achievements are bugged from other people that have played the game, and 1K hunters like me who even went further than I have and completed the game. They'll have all achievements but 1 or 2, and it's just because those are glitched. And unfortunately, I think we're gonna run into more bugged achieves, but we're gonna have to do it as we go. Number 8 out of 10. Stop resetting the missions, including on tier 5. Allow us to do it. I agree with that. I hate how they reset the missions when I reach level 30, and I hate how they reset them when I reach tier 5. If I'm playing through the game, let me, choose when I upgrade my tier. I don't want you to reset my missions while I'm working through. And what if I'm working, like for Endgame, for instance? I had to play through Endgame each mission to play that mission on hard. It was just so annoying. I wanted to go through and finish my hard run before the Endgame run, but I couldn't, and they wouldn't let me set the Endgame missions to hard to beat them on hard. So I ended up having to rinse and repeat all the missions on my second run. Another reason I'm kind of annoyed with the hard achievement, because we did endgame and the hard missions back to back for most of them, grinding it out nonstop for such a long period of time. And then they're just like reset or this or that or bug out. It's really disappointing. One of my major negatives, flaws of the game. They can fix it, but I'm going to have to fix it and figure out how we don't lose we get back our data, our completion, because I ain't replaying the game if they fix it just because they couldn't pull my info. I beat it, you figure it out, provide me with my stats. Number 9, vehicles. People want to see bikes, cars, and or tanks. Bikes I think would be phenomenal in this game, 1 to 2 seaters. Jet around town, you could swerve through here. If it's a slightly bigger city, it'll be much easier to commute. I feel like getting around this city on a bike would just be amazing. Obviously it should be unlocked after a certain stage. If you're going to do cars, you're going to need to make sure there's enough space to get around. Like this road right here would be fine for driving a car. They're going to need to accommodate this. Same with tanks. I think a tank mission would be cool. For instance, you drive the tank into the base and you take it out and do this and that. I think that would be a cool concept as well. So I'm for vehicles. If they do it right. Home Front of the Revolution had bikes and stuff and it worked. So it is possible. We'll see what they do. Philadelphia would be another awesome city to do this in, but again, it still fits the concept in New York. In the sense it'll be another major city. So I don't know if that's what people want to see. Number 10, the final one we're going to discuss. The weather elements, flooding, snow. People brought up Houston saying, you could have floods here. Obviously, it's a realistic issue, and it's unfortunate for people who suffer due to it, but it's something you could definitely implement in the game. If you do Chicago, you could definitely have major snowstorms. Do Las Vegas, you can have sandstorms. Same with Dubai. There's a lot of options on storm fronts. They have thunderstorms and all that here. But I really feel like they could definitely go way further and take it a step further with the weather and go above and beyond. Overall, that's pretty much everything, guys. We covered Division 2 facts, possible facts for Division 3, locations if it's worldwide, locations if it's US, the release dates, the fact that the rumor has it that there's basically no rumors in the game other than just people wishing for cities and stuff and saying that they think it'll be in the city. That's pretty much the rumors that are out there. And then the wish list, we went over 10 things that people would like to see, as well as with some influence from myself, from experience playing games for over 20 years of my life. So that is that. Hope you guys enjoyed this. If it does well, I'll continue this and keep 1 video coming out per week probably, so be sure to check the site. It might be like unboxing Fridays and future game Saturdays, or future game Fridays and unboxing Saturdays. I haven't decided yet. It's not official, but do check the site, the website, as well as our YouTube channel for more info on this, as we're going to try moving into that kind of setup within the next week or two. Thanks for watching. Like and sub. Hope to see you guys checking out the next Will It Happen video. Peace.